What's going on? I'm your oh so glorious and beloved MaceValor, as always. And I want to talk to you guys today about my time in the Army. You see, I've done several videos in the past about my military experience, but I kind of wanted to take fresh eyes and kind of dig into it, let you guys know my vantage point, kind of what I went through. And yeah, kicking things off, let's talk about recruitment and what the whole MEPS experience was before I actually even went to basic training. You see, it was pretty clear cut once I got on track. But getting the initial meeting with the recruiter, well, I was long hair, hippie, California boy, super liberal, anti-establishment, government, military, all that jazz. So when I came home from work one night, my mom had told me a recruiter came by. He left his card. I think you should weigh your options, because the fact of the matter is that I didn't have any scholarships. The school I wanted to go to, the Art Institute, to do video game design, it was just kind of like a fever dream. It wasn't really anything actually thought out. Because when I was a kid in my school district, at least, the counselors really didn't prepare you. The school never prepared you. They never like really sat you down to kind of formulate some kind of plan moving forward when you're graduated. They just kind of threw you to the wolves, and they would reiterate over and over and over and over and over, college, 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 but never actually help you do the legwork. So for me, boom, it was like totally not a possibility, because the legwork needed to formulate a logistical plan to put in place for all this stuff never happened. So my only option was loans, and whew, that was not a cheap school. I think they closed most of them down, so it's like a whatever at this point. But I'm glad I never actually went that route. So there was kind of an altercation. There was a fight. There was an argument between me and my mom, because I was all anti. I don't want anything to do with it. But then I was like, fine, I'll see this guy. I'll weigh my options. And so the recruiter finally came. Remember his name, Sergeant Dunlap. And through the course of these stories, some people I will give hard names for. A lot of people I will make up an alias, just because some of these stories are a bit toasty, a bit out there, and I wouldn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable having their name attached, per se. So anyway, Sergeant Dunlap came to the house, and he looked at my ASVAB score and everything, and he gave me a pamphlet. Not even a pamphlet; it was like a stack of papers that stapled up, and a booklet of all these different MOSs I could choose. Military Occupational Service. I think that's what it's the acronyms for. The military, they're acronyms. Holy crap. So I look at all these jobs, and there's bonuses and incentives for choosing different careers. Knowing what I know now, I would have done something like public affairs, something in broadcasting. But at the time, there was one definite thing I wanted to do outside of anything video game related, and that was cook. He recommended me for military intelligence. That didn't really like catch me. Didn't catch me at all. But I did want to be in culinary, outside of anything video game related, which was just a profession. It was a hobby. It was my experience to get away from the world, kind of thing. But what I loved to do most was cooking. So that's why I chose to be a cook. And he's like, "Are you sure you want to be a cook?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he started showing me all the promotional material for that MOS. And it's like, you could cook at the Pentagon. You could cook in the White House. It's so great. No, 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 no. And I'm like, that's not really up my alley either. I was like, I don't know. It's all this fluff stuff. I was hoping that would deploy. He's like, "You actually want to?" And I was like, I mean, if I'm going to be in the military, I might as well, right? And, it's like, if I'm going to be a part of something, I want to go full force with it. I want to be 110% in. And he's like, "Well, yeah, you will deploy." And then he showed me some other stuff. They didn't have like professional videos or anything, but he was able to source some videos for me to kind of see what it was like. And I was like, all right, that seems better than anything else. And there's a nice sizable bonus attached to it, 35K. And I was like, you know what, fine, screw it. Yeah, I'll do it. And the main reason why I did it is because the Army College Fund, which added on an additional amount of money on top of your GI Bill. So it essentially doubled my GI Bill. Not for time, but for amount of money that I was allowed to utilize with it. So that kind of like, set me going. And it's like, well, I'll sign a 5-year contract, which is actually like longer than 5 years because it doesn't account for training and stuff. So it was pushing 6 years by the time I got out. It was like 5.5 years. It's easier just to say 6, but 5.5 years was my time in. So from 2008 until 2014, and then I did the whole MEPS thing, and that was uncomfortable. And it was weird because at that point you're still a civilian. Like you have to like swear in twice. And that's when it's all official. That's when you've signed the contract and you've kind of given yourself over to the military. But even before that, the people at MEPS, they treated you like shit. They treated everyone like shit. And it's like, that's like before I'm even signing the contract and signing away all my basic human fucking rights. Um, you're treating me like dog shit. That's not going to encourage me to come back. And it you could argue that one way or another. Just from my mindset that I had back then, you get more flies with honey than with vinegar. Just saying. But that wasn't necessarily the end of the world per se, but it was definitely a really bizarre experience because every time I would go into MEPS to do physicals and do paperwork and this, that, and the other, it just made me feel uncomfortable because I felt like, well, they make it seem like I'm doing this big thing. It's like only a very small percentage of the population actually join the military. You're doing some gung-ho stuff. Look at you. Congratulations. That's good. But you get to MEPS and they treat you like utter dog shit, to say the least. Then you have to do all the weird physical stuff, get in your underwear in a room full of guys, do weird duck walks and shit, and then you go to a back room where a physician looks at your butthole for far too long and is comfortable. Just weird, bizarre things for someone just out of high school. And it's like, how am I even able to even make this decision? I did it though. I did. I did my swear in and everything was good to go. I remember there was another soldier with me. Picnic. Let's call her Picnic. So she was actually 17. And I think she was 17 and a half or whatever. But she was allowed to be in, to join because she was the right age for it. So when we went to basic, she was actually still legally a minor. And that's going to become relevant in the next video. But yeah, it was definitely an eye-opening experience because going from, losing my dad back in 2007 and then joining the military in 2008, wow. The one thing that really did come out of it was the relationship between me and my grandfather, because around the time my dad, had gotten really sick and he ended up passing away, me and my grandpa, things weren't super kosher between the two of us. But when he found out that I was joining the military, yeah, he kind of changed his tune. He had a bit more respect for what I was doing entering my adult world, and he would actually talk to me again, which was really nice. And I have my own reservations and regrets as far as that relationship is concerned, with a lot of relationships in my life. But I was really glad that I did do something in my life that he approved of, because I had no real sense of direction. Not to say that my parents didn't give me one. Of course they did. I'm talking about our educational system never really prepared us for anything. They kind of just threw us to the wolves with not a whole lot of information on how to actually function in society as a contributing member of society as an adult. Yeah, it's like get a job or go to college. It's like, all right, well, I'm young, I'm dumb. Can you give me a hand? Can you give me some advice? Can you kind of I don't know, just fill out an application somewhere, ask them for a job. If they say yes, they say no. If they say yes, go do the job. If they say no, fill out another application, go do another one. And it's like, okay, what about any skill sets? Maybe I can learn something somewhere that's actually a little bit more tangible than ringing things up at a register. It's like, oh, you'll probably have to go to a trade school. No. They didn't really walk you through anything, which is what someone like me needed back then. But then I had the military to kind of force some reality in my face, into my head, and to kind of make sense of the madness of the world around me. So do I have reservations about joining the military? Absolutely not. Do I have issues having joined the military? If you've seen my other videos, oh yes, a lot of them. But at the end of the day, all that matters is that I would not be who I am with the life that I have today had it not been for the military. You know, I'm a big advocate. I say this in my live streams all the time. Get out of your hometown. You don't have to see the world, but get out of your hometown at least. You know, spread your wings a little bit. Experience what else is out there, you know, because that's what one thing I'm really thankful for the military is it got me out of Menifee, California. And if anyone's from Menifee, California or knows of Menifee, California, you guys know. I don't even need to say it. You guys know. Ouch, right? But I grew up in the IE, Inland Empire, you know, represent. Yeah, so my childhood was good, but I needed the military to make me a man, and I'm really glad that I joined. There were some times I wasn't, which you guys will see. There were some times where I was just fed up completely. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just glad that I joined. The next video is going to be on basic training. I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth with that, and I'll kind of break things down more and more and more. This is just introductory, if anything, to the world that I entered. One interesting thing is I used to get phone calls. This is before my recruiter came to physically to the house. I used to get phone calls after I did the ASVAB, because I did the ASVAB just to get out of class, because we did it at the school. After that, and they got my scores, I used to get phone calls all the time from different recruiters. The Marine Corps, I got them to stop calling me because I was like, hello. It's like, oh, we're here to speak to such and such. We're here to speak to MaceValor. You know, you got a minute? And it's like, oh, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, well, we're the United States Marine Corps. And we just think that it'd be real hua or oorah of you to join us. And we could send someone out to, you know, talk to you and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, cool. That's awesome. Do you guys offer domestic partners insurance? Click, hung up. Never again did I hear from them. Another thing is recruiters wine and dine you. They do. And my recruiter, like, he was all about getting me to sign up. All about it. You know, they have quotas and they get bonuses and stuff if they meet above that quota. So it incentivizes them to get as much people as possible. And when I enlisted, it was during wartime. So they were taking anyone and everyone. They were doing waivers left and right. The one hiccup was that I had an ingrown toenail, and MEPS would not accept me with an ingrown toenail. So I had to get that taken care of and then let it heal, and then MEPS would accept me, because you have to be in pristine physical and mental condition before you join, as per, you know, signing away your contract. They want to make sure that the goods aren't broken ahead of time. So, but yeah, he was whining and dining me. Like, he would fill up my car. He would take me out to eat and stuff. There'd be times where it's like, hey, I'm done with school or work today. Did you want to hang out? Maybe we can kind of talk about more of this stuff. And fortunately, because in high school I did junior ROTC, ROTC, whatever the hell that stands for. I did the Air Force ROTC at Elsinore High. And the only reason why I did it was because of a girl. Because this girl I liked, that, you know, this friend of mine, but I had a huge crush on her. She was in JROTC, and so I wanted to be close to her, so that's why I did it. Also, it knocked out both physical education and aerospace science, which was a science course, so that was 2 credits that I didn't have to worry about because that class accounted for both of them. We used to have to wear our uniforms and stuff, so what I would do is I would bring my uniform with me, and in between classes, I would end one class, and I had like a short window before ROTC started. I would then take my uniform out of my backpack, put it on, and then go to it. And I did one color guard ceremony for one of the football games at Elsinore High, but that was like just because it was a mandatory thing we had to. Some of the people in ROTC that were like super gung-ho and all about it, they were fucking assholes, man. Like it's like they took this shit way too fucking serious. You act like you're already in the goddamn military. What the fuck? And another thing that irritated me was that the officers that were our teachers, they would get so fucking pissed when people like me would not spend the entire day in uniform. they're like, you shouldn't be like taking this stuff in your bag and dressing right before class. It's like, who gives a fuck? It's a class. I'm not in the actual military. You can't like. This is why it was really difficult, because I had a small taste of the military before actually joining. So having these lived experiences really turned me off initially. It's like, these guys are kind of fucking pricks. I don't want any part of it. But you know, it just was what it was, and I just had to kind of keep trucking and deal with it and get used to it. And you know, I eventually got past it and signed myself away, contracted myself, forcing me to strip away my humanity, becoming a number, and joining the United States military. And that's what I did. And I don't regret it. And I encourage everyone, every young person out there, the military is a viable option. There's tons of jobs that you could pick up that actually translate out into the civilian world. You just do your research on it, kind of see what would line up appropriately, and fucking have at it. You get great benefits. Look, I could beef up the military all fucking day. I could be that fucking Uncle Sam's fucking hero motherfucker, right? But at the end of the day, dude, check this shit out. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not for everyone. It sure as shit wasn't for me. That's why I got out. But at the same time, I'll acknowledge the fact that I needed this experience to kind of become who I am today. So no hard feelings about it, right? So for young people out there that are interested, do some research, check it out. If it's something that you think that you can deal with for, you know, however long your contract will be, and if you take it serious, by all means, please join. Take it serious, and you know, and have that experience in your life. Get out of your hometown, learn a tangible skill, and at the same time, you know, you'll get that military bearing. It'll reinforce very, very good habits that translate very well into the professional landscape of the big civilian world, this shitstorm. Anyway, of course, I don't want to just dribble on and on. I'm going to pass this on over to the next one. The next video, which will be listed here, up there, wherever, we're going to be doing, it's a motorcycle, it's a dirt bike. We're going to be doing a nice deep dive into my basic training experience. I don't know if I'll have it as one video or two. I'll try to keep it relatively concise. Where with this one, I kind of just mouth dribbled. But as always, I'm your oh so glorious and beloved MaceValor. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things we're supposed to say, but this video is not going to be edited anyway. So, oh well. As always, I'm your oh so glorious and beloved MaceValor, signing off.